The Boys Season 5 is officially a disaster. Let's get
Hey
into it.
everyone, sorry if the audio is a little bit weird in this video. Allergies have a really big stranglehold on me right now, but I've written the script, so we're just gonna get through it and see what happens. Spoilers for The Boys Season 5, Episode 7. Okay, look, I really don't even need a proper introduction for this one, okay? The Boys Season 5, Episode 7 has, very quickly, become one of the most hated episodes of the entire series.
Holy shit.
And for good reason, too, because good lord, was this one of the worst penultimate episodes to a TV series I've ever seen. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of Netflix slop and other high end TV shows that manage to telegraph a botched ending from a mile away. But for the boys, this has been made all the more disappointing because of the lack of developments this season.
Bro. If this, bro, honestly, bro, I don't think they could, there's nothing they could do to save it, bro. It's gonna be ass, bro. Like, I hate to say it. It's honestly probably I would say I like Invincible more, but this is definitely like one of my top two shows right now, currently, that I'm watching. And it just sucks.
We have been waiting 3, now 4 episodes for the status quo to finally change, and for the show to at least feel like it's on the verge of ending. And while the final few minutes actually do a half decent job at making it clear the show is about to close out, the rest of the episode just feels like it's wasting our time. Okay, so first off, Homelander has the V1 and kills the president. This makes perfect sense, considering how much his ego has been built up, alongside his quest to take control of the world as the one true god. I think Ashley ratting out that the president doesn't really believe in Homelander is a good reminder of her consistent
Hello, Butcher. And Copy. Bossa, 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 bossa. Let me chill.
survival skills, and how she's willing to do whatever it takes to live. And it does a good job at laying the groundwork for the rest of the
Excuse me,
episode, even if the
sir.
rest of the episode
Yeah, that song
feels
is
like it's
pure
just buying us
ass.
time for the finale. So now that the soup virus built up for a season of a
Excuse me,
spin-off and a season and
sir.
a half of The Boys no longer matters,
Oh, what? Ewy. Homelander raped me bloody wife and killed me bloody dog.
the boys have sourced a bunch of radiation from somewhere and are irradiating Kimiko for fun. Actually, no, it's because they want to see if they can make her radioactive enough to give her the same power-stealing nuclear blast the Russians gave Soldier Boy back in the 70s. But they're also doing it without proper guidance from Sage, who's sad because she can't understand love even though she lobotomizes herself to watch Love Island all the time. Now, I will say, on the surface, Sage's story does make sense. As someone who grew up loved by only one person who she lost, she doesn't completely understand the concept. So it's a good parallel to her superpower and a creative way to humble her, is what I would say if not for 2 factors. The first being that the writers constantly confuse reading people well with intelligence. I mean, Ashley even says Soldier Boy's somewhat proud of Homelander in episode 6, meaning there's a precedent for one single spat to not take that relationship away from them. Sage should have been prepared in case of such an outcome. And 2, we are on the second to
Bro, the thing is, the smartest characters in every show will always lose to writing, bro. It is what it is, man.
the last episode of the entire show. What are we doing focusing on Sage here? It's a baffling decision that just makes her and Frenchie's weird arc in the episode feel like a waste of time. Like the show needed Frenchie to be doing something while the boys were off making the worst possible decisions they ever could have made. Which leads into the bulk of the episode, which takes place at Vought Studios. See, Starlight gets intel from Gen V cameos Marie and Jordan that O-Father is preparing something for Homelander's ascension to godhood, so the boys decide to go investigate. Yes, great idea to stick to the status quo when Homelander is literally more invincible than he's ever been. Surely this won't go wrong, but wrong it does go, even before the team gets there. Because after getting her intel from Marie and Jordan, Starlight dismisses them out of nowhere. Marie objects that they have powers and can help, leading to
Bro, this show, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, they're actually, what the fuck are they doing, bro? Like, genuinely, Imagine watching Gen V season 1 and season 2, seeing Shorty resurrect her sister, bring her back to life, and then pop Thomas Kodolkin, the man who invented superheroes, head off. And then she gets in the show and she doesn't know how to use her powers.
Starlight saying, "What good are powers when you can't control them?" Okay, I need a minute here. We gotta unpack this. Gen V Season 2, which featured Starlight recruiting Marie into her resistance against Homelander, was all about Marie learning to control her powers. Marie defeating Thomas Godolkin at the end of the season was literally a battle to control her powers. The entire season was about how she's just as powerful as Homelander and about how she could learn to channel that energy to become a major weapon in the secret war to take him down. But now, Starlight is dismissing her out of hand as if the past season of Gen V didn't even happen. That one singular line invalidates all of Marie's development in the spin-off, made even more egregious by the fact there won't even be a Gen V Season 3. It's such whiplash and makes me wonder if the writers, aside from Kripke, even watched the show they were from. Clearly not, if they're implying Marie still needs to learn to control her powers. It's just as abysmal that they only show up once at a safe house and I guess are on good terms with Starlight again at the end. Just such a weird inclusion that feels completely removed from the premise of the spin-off. There was no reason to do this, and the way it was
And why do they have her hitting the fucking cart every, like, we get it, bro. She's getting high, my nigga. She's getting smacked. She's hitting the yardie, bro. Woohoo. Why is that shit in every scene, bro? God damn.
handled was just awful. Anyway,
Like, they'd rather put in scenes of her hitting the yard than actually write something that's good for the ending of a show. Okay.
boys sneak in to see a focus test group are being shown unfinished Homelander God propaganda while being monitored by psychics to see if they actually believe. See, Homelander's genius plan is to kill anyone in the focus group who doesn't believe in him. Gone are the days of the narcissistic yet level-headed Homelander of 2 episodes ago. Now he's a man-child baby who wants people to take him seriously as president of the Oh, wait, sorry, wrong reality. My bad. Could have fooled me, Kripke. Who wants people to take him seriously as God, so he's going to murder anyone in his focus group test that isn't convinced by an unfinished marketing stunt. This is so beyond stupid, I can't even conceive of the words. Homelander's ascension to godhood has been messy, but it's still been about his need to be loved at its core. Even if he denies it, perhaps this is taking that denial to the extreme, but it's also really stupid had he given it any thought. But since the V1 has taken his brain cells away, he hasn't, and would rather risk tarnishing his reputation than doing anything halfway intelligent. Speaking of intelligent, the boys' incredible plan of going to Vought Studios goes awry when Butcher and Huey are kidnapped by a psychic, who, for some reason, is like incredibly overpowered. He's powerful enough to shut down Butcher's powers by being in his head and can transform into Negan. How did this guy even get caught for killing his brother if he's powerful enough to disable Soups? Anyway, he ends up finding out where Frenchie, Kimiko, and Sage are, but dies when Huey distracts him long enough with mental images of his brother's crime scene photos. Unfortunately, it was already brought up the chain of command to Homelander, so it turns out this sneaky mission was nothing more than a flimsy excuse for Homelander to find out where the boys are operating out of. Gee, I wonder what will happen now. Also, I do find it hilarious how the show is still talking about Butcher's past and how he's not a good man right in the second to last episode.
Like, bro. Yes, bro. We know Butcher's a shitty human, bro. He's the villain. Butcher's a villain! We know this. Like, why do we, like, bro, Jesus Christ, just wasting scenes, bro. And then, bro, his power is he can read your mind and see the whatever, right? So you're telling me he didn't read the fact that they were going to plan to put thoughts into his head about his dead brother. Like, what? And then, bro, This show's going to fucking shit.
Oh no, Butcher left this guy to die a long time ago, and now he might do the same with the rest of the boys. But Huey's just like, lol, I know, and proceeds to mess with the psychic guy's head enough for Butcher to get his powers back, which just goes to show how messy this season's presentation has been. Like, it's not enough the show tried to follow through with this theme in season 4 and backtrack at the start of season 5, but now they're trying to reintroduce it to show that, well, actually, Butcher may be a bad guy who's killed a bunch of half-decent people, but he's our friend, so we'll always stand by him. That's the only reason I can think of for this to be a thing in the second to last episode of the entire series. But whatever, why follow through with season 4's ending anyway, and just dance around the same idea over and over again, like we've been doing for the last 23 episodes? So Starlight and MM bear witness to the massacre of the focus group Dissenters, which is conducted by Dognaught and Sheline for some reason. You know, given O-Father was able to hurt Starlight with just one blast of his voice in the previous episode, you'd think power scaling would dictate he could easily wipe everyone in that room out with one shout. His voice was literally established as a weapon last episode, it only makes sense for him to use it here. But instead, no, let's get the pet associated soups to do it instead, so everyone can be screaming and banging on doors in the middle of the very busy Vought studios. I guess you can somewhat chalk this up to O-Father clearly being more trepidatious of Homelander now that he has V1, but it's still such a flimsy plan to kill them all, noisily, right there. At least take them to a different location for a special presentation or whatever. But since The Boys doesn't have the budget to be smart, we need everything to stay in Vought Studios, whether or not it makes any sense. There's an actually pretty decent action scene that takes place with Starlight and MM saving the focus group. It has a decent amount of weight, and it's clear how much they need to hold their own against even such simple soups. Although I do find the power scaling here hilarious, since MM can take out Sheline despite having no powers himself. Anyway, with the action scene over, MM and Starlight smuggle 24 people out of Vought Studios unnoticed, somehow. Just don't worry about it. Glad Starlight's latest pep talk got her to start doing something again for the 10th time this season. Seriously, how many times do we need people to espouse about stuff just to get Starlight over her self-doubt? It doesn't help that the origin of her doubts, all the resistance people killed between seasons, still hasn't been shown to us. But whatever, at this point I'm just yelling at a wall, and before we get to the very end of the episode, we have a few loose ends I want to discuss. First of all, the Deep. You know, at this point, I'm kind of hoping he ends up living through the entire show. Yes, there's a very real possibility that he's going to die in the final episode. It makes sense to get him and Starlight in a room together so she can take her revenge. But I'd find it so much more karmic if he was left alive. Like, he can't go into the ocean anymore, thank you Samuel L. Jackson Hammerhead, and he's been kicked out of the Seven. Plus, he let some guy drown this episode, making him a joke of a superhero. He has nothing left, and at this point, for someone who did something so awful to Starlight, it would make more sense within the show's constant karmic treatment of him to not have him die, to have him live on, abandoned by everyone, and forced to rot away in solitude. I don't know, I think I'd enjoy that as a fitting end to his character instead of having him die, and him getting torn apart by fish and sharks and...
Yo, bro, him killing Black Noir is one of the most stupidest, like that shit genuinely baffled me, bro. Black Noir, a superhero who specializes in hand-to-hand combat, who is bulletproof, machine gun blasting at his chest, and he can fly, loses to the Deep from strangulation and a knife. What was the point of even bringing him back just to kill him? Like, what was the point of giving him that episode and all that just to kill him? Like, I genuinely don't understand what the fuck they're doing. Like, this shit is blowing me, bro.
stuff. Well, actually, that could work. if Starlight dropped him into the ocean or something. But yeah, what I'm really hoping is that he does make it out alive, punished in a way befitting his character. I also hope Ashley makes it out alive too, because man has she suffered so much as a pawn on Homelander's chessboard. Even though she doesn't have the back of her head as an ally anymore, I think it makes sense for her to stay alive, because Ashley, Madison Stillwell's mistreated secretary, becoming President of the United States is probably the most hilarious way to progress her character. See, the show shines with her because she's always been the victim of all the soups around her, and even though her and herself aren't on speaking terms, I think the pair being the ones to come out on top more than anyone else makes for a much-deserved ending. Okay, now we need to talk about it. The elephant in the room. Soldier Boy. See, Soldier Boy, who's been a massive focus of...
And also, like, bro, I understand Homelander, he's Homelander now, he took the V1, he's powerful, but like, bro, you're telling me all he has to do is just one headlock, and Soldier Boy can't even escape at all, or even try, he just instantly...
Season 5, up until this point, only has one singular scene in Season 5, Episode 7. He tells Homelander he plans to travel the world and probably won't be coming back. They have an argument about whether Homelander is God, leading to Homelander choking him out and putting him back in cryosleep.
Like,
Soldier...
Why did he not even fight back? Like, Soldier Boy is just... Like, nigga ain't even throw an elbow back, nigga ain't... Like, bro, what the fuck, bro? Soldier Boy's not gonna fight back? Yo, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Boy's fate remains unclear. It seems like the kind...
All of this, just so they can make a prequel. Am I gonna watch the prequel? Of course, but still, like, you don't have to ruin one show just to, like, yo...
kind of thing that's going to be resolved in the final episode, even if it's unclear who could let him back out. Except... No, that's not what's happening, because in an interview a few days after the episode aired, Eric Kripke confirmed that Soldier Boy will not be coming back in the series finale.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Eric Kripke, like, he's genuinely an idiot, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he thinks his fans are stupid, bro. Like, when Gen V came out, he was surprised that people found out that Cypher was Thomas Godokin. It's not that hard to figure out, bro. Why do you think your fans are idiots? What are we doing?
This scene, this one singular scene of him getting choked out and put back on ice, that is his final moment in The Boys Season 5. What the fuck? So after spending the last 5 episodes with Soldier Boy as a central character, after giving him a ton of screen time, making his character arc more complex, and procuring an entire season, the entire final season, around a MacGuffin from his past, the last time we're ever going to see him in the main show is here. In
a fucking hyperbolic time chamber, bro. Get the fuck out of here, my nigga.
On ice. Are we serious right now? It's just another symptom of Kripke's insistence that the Vought Cinematic Universe, or VCU as he's referred to it as, keeps passing the baton from one show to the next, that each one feeds into the other, which means whatever happens next to Soldier Boy, it's not going to get revealed until Vought Rising. Sounds to me like we're getting some kind of Better Call Saul presentation with a past and future storyline given this news. And look, I'll talk about it more in a later video, but I do think Vought Rising has potential, but not enough to derail Season 5 with a focus on Soldier Boy, only for him to wind up frozen again with confirmation
you don't have to ruin when
it's
you're
silly and makes him
watching,
nothing more than a prop for the plot
better.
and an advertisement for another show. But it's not the only controversial decision The Boys makes in its penultimate episode, because in the final minutes of the episode, Homelander arrives at the boys' school base. Frenchie ends up hiding Kimiko and Sage in a zinc-laced air duct and distracts Homelander. He irritates him a bit, which doesn't do much, and gets his stomach lasered. Even though, yes, as some people have said online, it does kinda look like he got lasered in the balls. But we have a touching moment where Frenchie dies in Kimiko's arms as the rest of the boys come in. It's a cinematic, very superhero story death that's played straight. And I have mixed thoughts about it. First of all, Homelander would have stayed at the school, knowing it's Butcher's hideout, and the rest of the boys would get there at some point. That's what smart writing would have had happen. But instead,
he just flies off, and he took V1, right? So wouldn't his powers be elevated to like the highest extent? No, he still can't see through zinc for some reason. Okay, yeah.
We need this emotional scene of Frenchie dying. And look, the show's writers aren't very good at making deaths that surprising, so I figured it was coming throughout the episode. When Frenchie made that speech about love making you do...
Bro. And you know someone's gonna die in The Boys, bro. Alright. If this is how it works. If they're having a great day and then they get a backstory, they're probably gonna die. But if they're being attacked in like the most hostile situation ever, with literally 5% chance of surviving, you're more likely gonna survive. Like, the character's not gonna die. That's just how they write their deaths.
Crazy things, it was clear he was done for, but I'm not too sure we really needed him to die. It's a tragic loss for sure, and I guess finally gives us a death for the boys outside of a side character like Mallory, but I don't know. Maybe I just didn't want to see Frenchie die since he and Kimiko seem like such a beacon of hope amidst the bleakness. But I guess it does put the group at their lowest in the final hour, thus making them coming together to stop Homelander all the more important. It just feels sort of flimsy to me. Or maybe it's because I just didn't want Frenchie to die, I don't know. But I wasn't a big fan of it, even though I understood where they were going. So now we have just one episode left of The Boys, and will it be any good?
No.
I don't know, man. Sure, the final episode could be really good in a vacuum, right? Like, it could have a massive, insane budget and have Homelander killing dozens of people and taking over the US. And that would be fun and a fitting way to wrap everything up. But I'm not sure if it wouldn't feel rushed, considering how much time this season has wasted. This episode felt like it could have been an email. The core mission was a contrived way for Homelander to get to the school and kill Frenchie, also we could get a major heroic death ahead of the final episode. Nothing new is learned outside of this, while establishing a new MacGuffin with Kimiko maybe getting Soldier Boy's powers through intense radioactivity. Not to mention the entirety of Gen V being retroactively useless by making Marie out to be someone in over her head when Gen V's entire premise was about her going from zero to hero. And of course, the cherry on top, Soldier Boy getting frozen so we have a cliffhanger for Vought Rising. It's all just painfully put together setup for the finale and not in a way that flows satisfyingly at all. But we have one episode left. Even if Season 5 has not been the most pleasant of journeys, there's still a chance, a small, tiny, barely...
Honestly, bro, I don't even want to get my hopes up. I don't think there's a chance that it's going to be good. If I'm being completely honest, bro, it's probably going to be mid. I don't think Homelander... I don't even fucking know, bro. It's bro. Feel me? Like, yeah.
Visible chance that the final episode makes this slog of a journey worth it. But given how bad Season 5 has been so far, I really don't see how it can come back from this. Even if The Boys has a finale that's good in theory, everything leading up to it has just been complete slop. It's unfortunate because I really wanted to like Season 5. I wanted to see this engaging, funny, compelling story about a darker, edgier superhero world come to a fitting conclusion. But now I just can't wait for it to be over. Half because I've stopped caring, and half because I do, for some Stockholm Syndrome-like reason, have hopes for Vought Rising. I don't know, let's just rip the band-aid off and finally be done with The Boys in all its glory. If you'd like to see more videos about The Boys...
Man, am I gonna watch Vought Rising? Yes, of course. But like, bro, they're letting the show go to shit. Like, honestly, it feels like they don't even care anymore. It's like the things that they were making fun of, bro, they're literally becoming it, bro. They're doing prequels, they're making a cinematic universe. Like, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, bro.